Yeah, yeah.
All
Well, we
right.
would.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today on this Purpose Pursuer webinar. We come to you every month on the fourth Wednesday at noon Pacific to help you, purpose pursuers, do just that, pursue your purpose. And all of us, we've done this ourselves, and we love helping other people do it. My talk in particular is going to be about the journey of purpose. It looks maybe a little differently than what you think. And then Brandon is going to be talking about, and please forgive me, Brandon, if I'm not saying it exactly what your topic is, but my take on Brandon's topic is about letting go of control or the illusion of control. Ray's topic is going to be all about the power of what you have within and that you have everything that you need already within, which both of those topics go super well with what I'm talking about. And then Frank is going to be talking about the freedom that comes when you know your unique design, the freedom to say no to things and to be okay with who you are and how you show up in the world. So thanks the three of you for coming along with this with me, and let's just go ahead and get started. And I do want to invite any questions, any comments in between our talks. I kind of gave you the order of the hour, and all four of us are very open to flexibility and spontaneity. We love to hear your individual one of a kindness. So if a question comes to you along the way, please feel free to interject, and we'll make sure to give you time to do so, as well as put things in the chat or whatever. Can I ask one of you, Frank, can I just go ahead and ask you, do you mind doing this for me? You've done this for me before. Do you mind grabbing the link to our website? There's just the homepage of our website is great, and putting that in the chat. And the reason, for those of you who are watching this later, the reason why I'm including that is because at the bottom of the website is a free download of our 4 principles. And they are the principles that we operate the blueprint process on. They're the principles of pursuing your purpose, which of course is what this webinar is all about. So thank you, Frank, for putting that in the chat. And you're welcome to grab that link, peruse the website. We're all on there. And of course, download the 4 principles. All right, so here we go. We'll get started. Before I do, practitioners, Frank, Brandon, Ray, do any of you have anything else to add before we get started? Oh, good. Okay. Yes, thank you so much, Frank. I appreciate it. All right, so my talk, and you know what? This is true for all of us. Because all of us are still on the journey of purpose, because journey, according to principle number 4, is an infinite, or sorry, purpose is an infinite journey. So even though all of us have known our purpose for quite a few years, we are still and will for always be on the path of purpose. And so when we come up with topics to share on these webinars, it's coming from our journey, the journeys of people around us who are also going through this process. So know, please, please know that when we talk, it's coming from our heart, our soul, and our experience. It's like we're asking ourselves, if there's one thing I could give today to help other people who are on the path to purpose, what would that be? And so we're choosing our topics based on our experience, what we're passionate about, what we're convicted about, and what aligns with our unique design, our blueprint. So just like the rest of us, I have chosen a topic today that is near and dear to my heart, and it is indicative of blueprint and purpose journeys in general, as well as current client conversations. So this week with my clients, this has been coming up a lot, this topic that I'm gonna be sharing. And that is basically that as humans, seemingly in the world, we often look to the passing of time and what we can accomplish in that time as evidence of whether or not we're on purpose, whether we're successful, or whether we're making an impact. We often look for indicators of time, accomplishment, feedback, results, you name it, all out what I would consider to be the windows and doors. And it's understandable, this search to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, that we're good stewards of our time, that we're good stewards of our value. We're looking for evidence. Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I creating value? Am I on purpose? And this is a trap. Time is a trap, and looking for measurement out the doors and windows. Both of those things are traps. And so what I really want to encourage today, and again, this has been coming up a lot in my client conversations this week, as well as with myself. Purpose is a moment by moment thing. That's it. There are no doors and windows. There are no results. There are no metrics. There are no achievements. There are no accomplishments. There is no time. Purpose is a single focus of giving. So this is the image that came to me. If you know me, you know I love analogies. I love images. And so here's the analogy that came to me today when I was thinking about this talk. Imagine being barefoot and walking in a forest. Not that you would be barefoot in a forest. I understand that. Just, go with me here. So you're barefoot and you're looking down at your feet, and you're watching your feet walk on the forest floor. And as you travel, you get kind of used to the forest floor, what it looks like. And, leaves, broken sticks, maybe some bugs, and you're walking and you're just expecting now that that's what you're going to see every step. Now, let's just take us back to the beginning of that journey and imagine that instead now you know what your purpose is. You know your unique design. And so instead of just expecting that same forest floor, you're now expecting something different with every step. Just imagine now instead that as you're walking, as you place your foot down every minute of every day, flowers are blooming on every footfall. Every footprint that you make on the forest floor now has flowers that are coming up. That is what it's like on the purpose journey. So instead of looking down the road, looking at the distant hill, looking at the objective, whatever it is, the goal that we're trying to reach, instead of looking out those doors and windows for some kind of a metric or result or feedback from the world, we are literally looking at our feet, one step at a time, looking for those flowers to bloom. We expect that every footfall of ours in our life, and when I say footfall, I'm speaking in a figurative way, every figurative footfall of our life blossoms. That is the power of your purpose being a divine event, as principle number 1 talks about. If your purpose is a divine event, that's what you can expect. Every footfall, every thought that you put out into the world can blossom, is blossoming, will blossom. That is the power of embodying a divine purpose. It's not about you. It's not about the results that you can create out the doors and windows. We all know that those results are fickle. We can do all the right things and still that result doesn't happen. We can do all the things that the whole world suggests we should do. Like there's a formula. If you do this plus this, then you'll expect this. God is asking us to forget the formula. Focus on the blossoming. And the only way that your footfalls can blossom is if you're watching the God that is within you. And that is where Blueprint comes in. That's where Blueprint process practitioners come in. We are designed to help you know your unique design so you can watch it better. If you don't know your unique design, it's as if you're walking on that forest floor and you don't know to look for blossoms. You think you're just surviving. You think you're just one of many, just like everybody else, full of some strengths, some weaknesses, some bad experiences, some good, mixed bag of tricks, and you're just doing the best you can to keep your chin above water. If that's what you think, then that's what you'll expect, and that's what you'll see. That's what you'll experience. What we're here to tell you is that's not who you are. You are a one-of-a-kind wildflower packet of seeds, unique to you. And those seeds are created by God. Everything you do in this world, every thought you think is chock full of these incredible one-of-a-kind seeds. Now, if you know that, you're going to walk very differently. And my hope is you'll let go of those achievements, the accomplishments, the numbers, the metrics, the results, the feedback, the popularity score. You'll let it go because you'll know that the light that is within you is a divine light. And it's not up to you that it gets done. It's up to God that it gets done. And it is getting done every minute of every day. And that is literally all that matters. So then all we need to do is watch, expect, and hope. And our experience will change dramatically. So that is my share for the day, born on my own experience. So trust me when I say, yeah, I'm working on this too. I'm not done. I too am filled with doubts and fears and trepidations and concerns. And why don't they like me today? I too, all those thoughts come through me. And yet, I'm reminded of those 4 principles. Oh, it's one more thing I wanted to tell you. Blueprint is a reminder of something you've always known. And that is the divine power that resides within you. Blueprint is your one-of-a-kind representation of him. And that's all you are. You're not a bunch of labels. You're not a past. You're not a future. You are a one-of-a-kind representation of God, a spiritual, beautiful, one-of-a-kind bouquet of wildflowers. And every footfall that you make is full of flowers. And all you've got to do is look for them. And you'll see them. And you'll find yourself no longer dismissing well-meant compliments. You'll find yourself accepting them because it's not about you. It's about how you're here to represent God. So I hope, and we hope, that you find your one-of-a-kind design, because again, if you don't know what it is, you don't know what to look for. What kind of flowers are in there? Whom are they meant for? What are they supposed to do? If you don't know your one-of-a-kind design, you don't know how to be unique. You don't know how to make an impact, and with whom. So we're here to help you find your one-of-a-kind design so you can look for, expect, and find your bouquet of flowers. And you'll see, trust me, all those accomplishments and achievements and feedback and yada, yada, all of that will come because you're not trying to do it yourself. It's going to come because it's the divine working through you. It's meant for impact. It's part of the divine design. You don't have to make it so. Any questions, comments from anybody?
You had mentioned this thing, what is there for me to do?
Mm.
And one of them was very familiar to me to watch, but there was another couple. What was watch?
Expect, maybe?
That was it.
Yeah. And again, we have to know what it is. I mean, okay, so there are, if you're watching this, there are 2 blueprints in view behind Frank and behind Brandon. Thanks, Brandon. And they are the same structure, but completely unique, because what you see behind Brandon and what you see behind Frank is Brandon's unique design, Brandon's unique packet of wildflower seeds, and Frank's unique design and his unique packet of wildflower seeds. There may be some in common, but there's vastly unique seeds in there. One of a kind design, completely one of a kind design. And if you don't know what it is, you can't watch for it. So that would be my first step, is research it. And that's what we're here to do. Research your one of a kind design, then watch for it, expect it, find it.
And Tammy, I would even add,
Yeah.
even if there were some of those players or those circles that people can see that seem like they are the same or that we share them in common as applied to us and the rest of our blueprints and in our contexts, they're actually not the same, even if the words are the same, because they may mean something completely different to Frank, to me, to you, to Bill, to Ray. And so, yes, even those things that seem the same and in common are unique to you.
Beautifully said, yes. And one of the reasons is because rarely does a single blueprint item work in isolation.
Hmm.
All of your blueprint items work in tandem. So Brandon's point is right on the money, because the team that gets on the court along with that single player that might be the same on Brandon's as it is on Frank's, the team is different. And so, yeah, it's automatically going to look different based on our individuality. Well said. Just like in a wildflower seed mix, if you had a poppy and let me see, what's another wild daisy, maybe? And so let's say that both Frank and Brandon have poppies in their wildflower seed mix, but Frank has daisies and Brandon has, oh, those blue things. Those blue things. I don't know what they're called. The poppies are going to look different next to the daisy than they look next to the blue things. And it's all part of God's infinite variety. It's lovely. Thank you, Brandon. Anything else before we move on? Alrighty. Brandon, are you ready to share?
You weren't lying. Much of what you said really resonates with me and connects. And it goes to what you said about you're walking in the forest, and when you know your purpose and you've revealed your blueprint, those you start to see that it's bouquets of flowers, and there's nothing, and that's not like you aren't making those flowers grow every step, right? That's because of your unique design, and that's coming through as God, and however our listeners may be thinking about God, right? It's something bigger than you. Something bigger than you that's out there. There's that connection, that energy, however you're looking at it. And so when you recognize that you're uniquely designed and here on purpose with a purpose, that the timelines that we give ourselves to accomplish all these things, to grow those flowers, we are putting those timelines in place. We are adding that constraint. And it may seem like I'm in a job, I'm in a role where maybe I was given a time constraint by my boss. I was in the military, right? So I have a mission, I'm going on deployment, and we're going on this date. There is a real time constraint there. And so we're not saying that right? I'm not saying that you would just eliminate all deadlines, get them out of your life, eliminate these timelines. However, when we're talking about living out your purpose, the way I think of it is there is no timeline. That's infinite. And so if as long as you know your blueprint, you know your purpose, and you're committed to giving that to the world and learning about yourself along the way and the way you're meant, kind of how are you meant to express that? How are you meant to deliver that? What does it look like to you now versus 6 years ago? As long as you're committed to that, the timeline, the results, you don't control any of those. And so when I talk about letting go, I mean recognizing that sure, you may have some influence over some of these results with your actions. At the end of the day, though, you mentioned it, Tammy, there's so many other things, external things that come into play, and you're supposed to do X, Y, and Z, and then you'll get a certain result, and you do X, Y, and Z, and then the result's not what you expected because context always matters, and something external to you, your world, got to vote. And so for me and the people that I've been interacting with lately and clients and just a lot of a lot of, man, I've got to do this and that. I got to do X, Y, and Z because I've got, this deadline's coming up and I've got to make this much money or whatever it may be. It's the idea they just feel like, well, I'm controlling all of this. So if I don't do these 64 steps, I miss one, then it's my fault if this didn't happen. Right. And that's so much pressure. That's so much pressure that you're putting on yourself when at the end of the day, I just don't believe that you actually do control all. You do all 64 steps and then it still doesn't work out. Oh, because it was actually 65 steps and you didn't take the 65th step. And so to bring all this kind of back in to not only the people I've been interacting with, but my own life, transitioning out of a career of 26 years, being in the military and wanting to start a business and wanting to be able to work for myself and exercise some of these players in my blueprint that were on the bench for a lot of my career, maybe in the game at different times, at different levels, largely on the bench. And I want to give them a chance to get in the game. And so to me right now, I'm expressing that through trying to help people with blueprint, a coaching business. And there is, I have no guarantees that I will, right, be able to build the business. And so in my mind was, oh, I've got to do X, Y, and Z. I've got to replace this amount of income at least or more to sustain this exact lifestyle that I want to sustain. And when I step back and knowing my blueprint actually is a foundational piece to me being able to do this, when I step back and realize that I'm putting all of those constraints right now on myself. Like I'm saying, I'm retiring, so now I need to make X amount of income by 6 months down the road, or else I'm going to go search for another job and then X, Y, Z. When I recognize that I don't, I'm putting that constraint on myself. I can let go a little bit, right? I can have a little bit of faith that, okay, as long as I am doing the thing. So here's where it comes in for me is listening in receive mode. And when I hear it, when I notice it, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Now I know that that is coming from blueprint. And now I can take actions in line with that. And they may or may not, they will influence the outcome. They may or may not put me where I think I need to be based off what I just said, like all these constraints that I've given myself. And believing that, because I mean, honestly, if you don't believe that, then none of this will matter what we're saying, because you actually have to believe that you can let go. You have to believe that if you know your purpose and that it's divine event, you have to believe all of that, or otherwise this is interesting, but it probably won't change much for you. And so that's it, right? I believe that I'm not in control of this timeline. I do believe I can influence the direction I'm headed, mainly by knowing purpose and living that out with each step through the forest so that the flowers bloom. And man, because I feel some anxiety here too. Like Tammy was saying, we feel all this. Like I feel this, but man, what a weight off when yep, you know what? This is going to work out. Not just because I'm going to lay on the couch and eat potato chips and do absolutely nothing, because I know my blueprint, because I have that clarity and I understand that that's what I'm listening for is how am I supposed to express my purpose, live my purpose. That's what I'm listening for. And so if you believe that and you're listening for that, then when you hear something, when you notice something, you're going to take some action, right? To try to influence that versus, oh, it'll all work out. I'll just sit on the couch and eat potato chips all the time. Like I like to make it clear that I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about letting go to the point of just laying on the couch, right? It's more about that knowing you have a purpose. You're here for a reason. Listen, right? God, the universe that's trying to tell you there's so much noise and gunk up there, though. You need to find a way to be able to listen and notice. And then from that place, right, you're taking the action that you need to be taking.
Mm.
Lovely. I have to tell you, in the years that I've known you, Brandon, you are you're in your house. That's the best way I can describe it. And yes, I know right now you're in your house, but that's not what I mean. You're in like your soul house, you're peaceful, you're confident, you're serene, and it is lovely to watch. And I love how you talk about the belief and what the belief does. The belief brings the peace, and then the peace allows those receptors to ping when there actually is something to do or process. And I just appreciate your presence, and I appreciate the guts that it takes to stay the course like that.
Mm. Mhm.
Thanks.
Yes, Frank.
Brandon, you mentioned this thing about being anxious, and believe it or not, I too get anxious. But the thing about you said it a couple of times. You said laying on the couch and eating potato chips. I know you would enjoy doing that, and I know there are times you do enjoy doing that. But the thing is here is like I heard this thing this morning. The person was saying my dad was playing the role of parent. She kept on saying this, play the role of parent. And I look at you and your military career, and I go, it makes complete sense that not only you were in the military, but your ascension into that role of commander. It's like, come on, that doesn't happen with somebody who lays on the couch and eats potato chips. That's not your role. It's who you are. It's who you've always been. And it was like, but that's not my point. My point was, what the doors and windows, what the external world says about my laying on the couch and eating potato chips, and me actually believing in that, taking that to heart as, see, I really am not up to it. I'm really a fake. I'm a blah blah blah. I'm a failure. I'm not going to get the. Really? No, that's not you. It's you would never allow that to happen.
Yeah.
So this anxiety can be dispelled by this. No, that would never happen. And I'm going to lay on the couch and eat potato chips.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah,
I've got
it gives you
different
permission to
kinds-
actually
different
do that.
kinds of potato chips here. But it's like,
Yeah.
but that's not your thing. And you still
Yeah.
love to eat potato chips and lay on the couch. So that was my point, because it was like, you're not playing the role. It's who you are.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And who you are just simply will not. It's like, okay, guess what? Today the water actually the vinegar actually melded with the oil. No, that don't wash.
Yeah.
That would really
And-
be bizarre.
Yeah. And to bring it back to blueprint and knowing purpose, if you've taken the time to really reveal these things about you, the things that have always been inside, and they come to the surface and you have clarity over them, you have a literal picture of like that right there is not laying on the couch and eating potato chips the rest of their life, right?
Mm.
So the clarity, the self-awareness, I think it bolsters, it gives you the confidence to know that, man, look at this. There's zero, I can let go of the need to control all this stuff because I know that I've got all this working with me. I've had it everywhere I've been. I'll take it everywhere I go. And I know that this right here ain't meant to be under the bed or on the
Right.
couch or wherever it's at.
Have some
Right.
shit.
So versus maybe somebody who has never done anything like that and doesn't have that clarity. Maybe that person, who knows, right? But they might not have the same amount of confidence to be able to just say, I don't have to hold my grip on this. I can let go a little bit.
Mhm.
I love that. It reminds me of the reminder thing. It reminds me of how Blueprint is a reminder. And whether suggestion is that you lay on the couch and eat, like we all have those desires, and we get stuff from the world that tells us who we should be or what we should expect to do or whatever, or that we failed. And to be able to go back to your blueprint and remember, no, this is who I am. And it's not me being me, it's God being himself as me.
Right.
It's a different ballgame. And beautifully, it ties perfectly into Ray's conversation, I think. So, Ray, you want to pick it up from there?
Yeah, but okay, so if I'm gonna just run this idea by first.
Perfect.
So we all made these little videos, right? About what we were going to talk about. How do you feel about me running mine and just letting it run? It only takes 2 minutes.
Oh, no thanks.
Because well, when you first started here, you were talking about, what each one of us was going to talk about. And when I made that video, it was at the end of a long 36-hour run, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I had just
Right.
and I sitting, you know where I was sitting.
Yeah.
And my take of that was that what I wanted to really talk about regarding, in tune with the blueprint is to first to help people stop looking out the doors and windows so heavily, that because a lot of times if you're so fixated on that, you can't see your way clear to even come to this, because in a sense, you're in a tornado. You just cannot even see or hear or feel this. Um, and so I just wanted to say, how we all are looking out these, as you like to say, these doors and windows, and that we shouldn't be doing that. But it's so loud, and we're in it, we're in this world, and we get pulled into it, where we're always looking for validation, right? We're not living our own life. We are living according to somebody else's judgment about us.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that one thing that we could do really quickly in our own heads is to give permission to everyone in the world
Mm.
to go ahead and judge us. Just go
Mm.
ahead.
Mm.
Excuse me, but beat the crap out of it if you want. But just judge us, because you know what? You're going to do it anyway.
Mhm.
Heck, we judge ourselves. All the noise in our own head, we're constantly judging ourselves about what we're doing, not doing, how we do it, when we do it, how much of it we do. We are judging everything about ourselves, and we're judging other people. Well, just let them. Just let them. Let it go. People, both of you, Brandon and yourself, said, let go. Just let go. And if we can just let go long enough to get a glimpse of what we're talking about here,
Mm.
that you are unique. Let them judge you, because this is your own precious life. Now it is moving or not, not moving maybe in the direction that you'd like to, but to let go of trying to stop them from judging, because you're going to cater your behavior to that judgment from other people. Just get rid of it. Let them judge, let yourself judge, but come to this with an open mind and realize that this is a spiritual event that we are experiencing, and that God is coming through us with all of our unique blueprints, the combination of things. Like Brendan mentioned, there may be some similarities, but there's definitely a distinction between the two. Um, Judgment keeps us procrastinating, self-doubt. Oh, that video is picking up a fly flying around my head. The fear of judgment gets in the way of everything. We're like suffocated. And I just want to say that the experience of going through this process with these hearts of practitioners that are also continuing to go through it. Like none of us have stopped, right? We talk, quite frequently and supporting each other as much as we possibly can. And to realize that judgment is everywhere and the noises in the windows and doors, it's always going to be coming at us, but just let it. Let it happen, let go, and come to this blueprint. Come to it as an experiment. Like Brendan mentioned, if you don't believe in the spirit, believe in God and all that, I still say come to this and just see what it might do for you, just from the standpoint of the noise from the doors and windows. If you want to shut that down to a greater or lesser degree, go through this process and see what happens. And that's about all I got to say about that.
Dude, that was awesome. Yes. Wow.
I think if you let me show that video, it would have been a little more punch, but
No, no, I've seen the video and the video is great, but that was,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I just want to say one more time, give people the permission, the freedom to judge you and allow yourself to do it to yourself. You don't have to live with it. You can have the thought come in and just let it go out. Come in and go out. And if somebody else, you think that somebody isn't going to like what you're going to say or what you're going to do, let them. But come to this as an experiment, if you will. But I'll tell you, if you are a spiritual believer in God, it's the most powerful thing you could probably ever do in your life. Besides, other things that are spiritual. But it's a spiritual event, this one precious life you have. Use it the way God wants you. God wants to channel through you. The end.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being willing to because the video is great and this was something more. So thank you very much for delivering that to us. Any questions or comments before we move on to Frank? One thing I want to say is when Brandon, Ray, and myself, and Frank may say it too, this idea of letting go, easier said than done. And we all know that because we're all still letting go today. Like Ray said, we judge ourselves. Letting go of something is nigh on difficult. So a thought would be to switch your focus. Instead of trying to drop the worry or the desire for feedback, shift your focus instead off of the doors and windows, as Ray was intuiting, and move instead to the blueprint. So you may not have the blueprint, I understand, but that's why having a blueprint is so powerful, because I do this all the time. Mine isn't behind me, it's back there. But when the world tries to tell me either good, bad, or indifferent about me and my life and my choices, or I try to judge myself, looking at that thing is incredibly anchoring. So real quick, neurologists have determined that we only have room for 4 to 7 things in our head at any given moment. Well, as Ray was suggesting, we can fill our 4 to 7 spaces with crap from the doors and windows. Instead of trying to clean out those rooms, just switch out the pots. Move instead to the blueprint. Anchor your thought into who you are as a divine event and just stay focused on that. Marinate on that. Instead of trying to let judgment go, just focus on that. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Frank.
One thing that Ray said that really, I wrote it down even, it says he used the words, see one's way clear to. And my ears just went. Because that's all about, that's my purpose, right? It's like see one's way clear. Because if you don't see your way clear to, then where are you? Well, you're spinning around or stopped or laying on the couch eating chips, Brandon, or something like that. So yeah, so thanks for that, Ray. It's so funny how you brought up the question of the video. I actually forgot what my video was about.
Awesome.
I know it was in the moment. It was in the moment that I was like, because I have this kind of problem with filming myself, actually saying messages that weren't scripted, and that. So I just go, I got it now. While the iron is hot, make the video. So, so yeah. So what I'm talking about here today, knowing my one of a kindness. Is that my part?
Well, according to your video, yes, you were going to talk about the freedom.
Oh yeah.
It's like, it's similar to what Ray was saying, but it's like, I'm good as I am. Like you don't, the validation in who you are and whom you are not, and no longer needing to make excuses for it or defend it.
Right. Yeah. And it is very freeing. What I mean by that is the idea of being fettered, being tied down, dealing with a world that in this way. Well, what do you all think? And from that, extracting some kind of approval or go ahead or buy in or validation on that versus I know my purpose. My purpose is to shine, not my light, but to bring light to bear on things that people want clarity on. Because in my mind, I live in a world where everyone out there is looking for clarity. It's a big buzzword, clarity. But it's kind of like, okay, how do you lay hold of this clarity and create beachheads along the way to go forward? And a lot of my value will come in from not busying myself with convincing or explaining, but just listening. And really, because people are just gushing on the inside. And if given the opportunity to say what's there for themselves, of course, it's not like I'm riveted by every word, but I'm looking for, what would you call them? The buds and blossoms. Yeah, it's just like, no, I'm not looking at the big wheat field. I'm looking for the diamond, whoa, what's that? And because in that, there's an unfolding, there's an unpacking of that. And when you're able to do that, people are blessed. They go, man, nobody, says the person, have never taken the time to stop because I'm just so busy trying to be worthy in the world that says that I'm not. It says I don't know enough. I don't have enough letters after my name, or I don't have the big firm. I haven't made the $1 billion. No. There's a kind of serenity and a value that once I know my purpose, it's like I can travel light. I travel light everywhere I go because I already have what's needed in me, and it's not a lot. It's amazing. And it's like the world is going to tell you what is the heartstring. And that's what I love. I don't want to deal with any of this other stuff about, well, this is my experience in the past. We can set that aside. Where is it that we're seeing our way clear to going, said Ray. Where are you going? Where do you want to go with this? How do you want the time to go here? It's and so and having them bring out the attributes that will become their blueprint in tangible blueprint because their blueprint is already there. I hear it all the time. I hear it because I hear my blueprint in there.
Mm.
In the language that is being used out there. It's like, I use that same language. That's why we're talking. And so this idea of my purpose being shining the light in the dark being no confidence where I want confidence, knowledge where I'm hearing all kinds of things, but I want to know what's useful, what really is going to move me from here to there. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of being hoodwinked or one of my favorites is, are you going to pitch me? And it's like, wow. But here's where freedom comes in to actually speak into that versus, oh, better stay away from that. No, go there. Because I know the underlying thing is the same thing with me. It's like, you're looking for clarity. You're just kind of like defending. You're like, you've actually believed the doors and windows. And hey, it's not the doors and windows aren't there, but we're not focusing on that. Like you were saying, Tammy, it's like this thing isn't the save all salve for everybody. It's my anchor. And what's available there is for people to actually say, I can have my own anchor. Yeah, you can. Yeah, and there's one who would come alongside you and help you do that. And look what I've done. It's a lot of work, but it's work you'll love, and it'll bring you to a point where you'll actually be able to throw off those fetters and go into places and speak into conversations that before you would just run off down the street. Fearing for your life, so to speak. In other words, I'm not trying to convince people. I'm not trying to explain myself to people. Because when I'm talking to my people get me very quickly. They don't need explanation. They just go, yeah, that's right. Wow. It's amazing how you showed up today, Frank. I heard this from a gentleman the other day. Wow, it's amazing. I was just thinking about that. I was just praying about this now. And then it's like, here you are. You showed up. And it's like, yeah. So that's a really good thing. So
It's flowers blossoming.
yeah. And then there are flowers and blooms and buds that I would not have seen had I been busy at doors and windows. Oh, did you hear that opinion? Oh, did Frank, they don't want to go along with your widget or your service. Oh no, let's all focus on that now and find evidence for, yeah, I know I should have got an MBA. Yeah, I know I should have got some more letters out. Oh dear. Wow. Let's not do that. That's not me. let's stay the course with the anchor here. The sure and steady anchor for those Navy guys out there.
I like how you mentioned that traveling with your blueprint is like traveling light, that it's the simplicity of not trying to be everything to everyone. And again, so how am I to be? What are the flowers in my seed packet? And that's right there behind each one of us. Our blueprints, our anchors, is that knowledge that we're here for a select group of people for a select reason at a select period of time. And that just really highlights what Ray was saying, is that this is a divine event. You are with divine intelligence backing you, which means that there are people out there, projects out there that absolutely have need of your seed packet, your flower packet. And we can't know that. We can't know what that is because his intelligence is large, way, way, way bigger than ours. And as both Ray and Frank were talking about, if we stay focused on the doors and windows and try to learn from the doors and windows what our value is, we can get waylaid. So it's important just to watch how God is moving within us, Watch those sparkles that Frank was talking about, or the little flower buds, and go with that and just stay focused on creating those little flower buds. Thank you, Frank. Any other questions or comments on Frank's talk or anything?
Something that is coming up for me is the judgment thing again that Ray was talking about, and letting go of the judgment. Not only knowing that we all have a unique blueprint and that we have people who need that, who need us to share that. It's not just us though, it's everybody has that. And so not only when you know that and you have clarity, can you let other people judge you and let it go, including yourself, like Ray said, you also start to actually judge other people less. Because you understand that they have a unique blueprint and maybe they're not your people. And so maybe they're not meant to be in your world, but they're meant to be in somebody else's world.
Mm.
And so if, again, back to belief, if you believe we all have a unique blueprint and you believe that theirs is different than yours, and you believe that maybe they're not meant to be in your world, and so they have their people, it helps you with the judgment piece.
Well said, dude. Yeah, the more we can get rid of nasty emotions and thoughts like judgment, yeah, the better that light will come through us. 100%. Thank you for bringing that up. An analogy that I love is, imagine a puzzle, a completed puzzle of a jungle scene. And let's say on one side you've got a cheetah, and on the other side you've got a jungle river. Well, let's say you and your people make up the cheetah. So you're colored to look like the cheetah, you're shaped to work together to create the shape of the cheetah. Well, the people who are making up the river, same thing. They look the way they need to look to make up the river. They work together in the way that they need to work together to make up the river. If a river piece and a cheetah piece were to try to communicate, it'd be a little difficult, because one is coming from the perspective of the cheetah, the other one's coming from the perspective of the river, two totally different things on the puzzle. So judgment is the cheetah looking over at the river and saying, "You're silly. You should be yellow with black spots." And the river looking over at the cheetah and saying, "No, no, 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 you're silly. You should be kind of this greenish, brownish, flowing thing." So yeah, judgment is it's definitely not a divine event, and purpose is. So again, the more that we can get rid of anything that is not like God, like judgment, any negativity, the more clearly that light will shine through us. Thanks for bringing that up, Brandon.
Mm. Yeah, can I just add one last thing to that? That was beautiful what you said, Brandon, that we start judging less when we say, whatever they're doing, let them. And so you stop judging. Just let them. And I wanted to say that when Frank just used the word, you said you like words, Frank. And you use that word listen, and we use that word all the time. We're supposed to listen here, especially us, to somebody that might come to us. But that word is so powerful if you can exercise that. So.
Exercise it. Can you say, Ray, why is listening so powerful?
Number one, from my vantage point, is that I get to know that person. I put them in I don't put them anywhere. They may just start, if I'm really, really listening, they can sense the peace and the openness and the safety, I guess you could say, the non-judgment. And to really just listen, you can feel the energy coming from them. And I want to just say it's a divine energy that starts to interact between the two people. And that's why so many times people have said, I've never told anybody this before, literally in their entire life.
Yeah.
It's because that energy of God is flowing between the two of you, and this love, for lack of a better word. I mean, there is no better word. And listening from their perspective is that nobody listens, you know,
Right.
to have that experience of really being listened to. It's a gift that you give to each other.
It comes with a curiosity, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. We're the curious sort, wanting to know people. You know? Certainly for myself, that's been one of the biggest things in my life, is because what else is there? You know, granted, nature is beautiful and all that stuff, but really the interaction between human beings is the epitome of this life experience.
For you and your blueprint.
Yeah, for me and my blueprint. Yeah, it's unique that way. Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Bill, do you have any words of wisdom you'd like to leave us with?
You gotta unmute there, buddy.
I know, poor guy. I just threw him a backhand.
He wanted to be silent.
I can't add a thing. How about that?
Okay, that's okay. That's all right. I just wanted to give you a chance. We all love your words of wisdom. All right. Well, as a group of practitioners, we will be back here in July on the fourth Wednesday. I'm just looking up the date really quickly. So it'll be July 23rd. And it may be in a little bit of a different group. Don't know. We're not even sure what we're going to be talking about, but we are sure that you could use this same link on July 23rd at noon Pacific, from noon to 1 Pacific. It will, of course, be recorded and posted later. You can find past webinars on our website that Frank posted in the chat. It's www.blueprintprocess.com. You can find past webinars, as well as the link for the webinars, as well as more stuff about us. And my goodness, I just hope that today you get some feedback on your special brand of unique wildflower mix. And we'll see you next time, right here at the Purpose Pursuer webinar. Practitioners, if you could hang on for just a second.